Good afternoon. Thank you all for coming here today. I appreciate your attendance in what is our second Stillwater Police Academy and Council on Law Enforcement Education and Training Police Academy graduation here at Stillwater. I'd like to recognize our distinguished guests here today with us, City Manager Kimberly Meek, Assistant City Manager Christy Driscoll, Fire Marshal Thomas Tharp. I also would like to recognize our guest from the Council on Law Enforcement Education and Training, the Director Derry Stacy, and Assistant Director Marcus Williams, and Field Representative Radford Dew. We thank y'all very much for allowing us to host our own academy. It has been greatly beneficial to our program and assist us in being able to incorporate our own training into the Police Academy training, and helps us to get these fine officers on the street sooner, and benefits everyone. So thank you for that, and thank you for being here today. Today we're here to recognize two outstanding officers in the graduation from the Police Academy, Officer Gage Ellis and Will Howe. We thank you to your families also for their patience and their tolerance, and putting up with the life of a police officer and what's soon to be more and more sacrifice for you and your families. And we appreciate and honor their sacrifice every day for allowing you to work for us and serve the citizens of Stillwater. These two individuals have been through a lot of training. We're very proud and honored to have some of the best instructors probably in the country, if not in the world, in the areas of defensive tactics and firearms and patrol tactics and active shooter. These officers will find out soon as they get out into the world and see other agencies and departments and go to other training, that the training they received here is better than anything they could ever get to no amount of money. So we're very proud of the fact of the excellent officers that we have already working here and the quality instructions that they provide. So without further ado, I will introduce, where's he at? There he is, Sergeant Blakey. He's a sergeant of our training division, and he's going to talk about the Police Academy.
Good afternoon. As he said, I'm Sergeant Blakey, the training unit supervisor. Today marks the completion of Stillwater's second basic peace officer academy. As of today, these two officers have completed 1,135 hours of training, thereby certifying them as full-time certified law enforcement officers in the state of Oklahoma. Their training has consisted of 120 hours of defensive tactics training, 120 hours of firearms training, 40 hours of active shooter training, 40 hours of LEDT, 70 hours of legal, 200 hours of various types of investigations training, and dozens of other required classes. They performed at or above our standards in numerous decision-making scenarios under mental and physical stress. We challenged the individual limits of their bodies and their minds. We challenged their perspectives and remolded their way of thinking. They have shed blood and sweat to better themselves and prepare for service to this community. We are proud to see them move on to the field training program, where we hope to see them excel and soon become solo patrol officers. I have no doubt that they will succeed and soon have our backs as we will have theirs. Now we've got a video prepared. If somebody is on cue to start that, there you go. All right, I'll now introduce our Operations Bureau Commander, Captain Stevens.
All right, good afternoon. I am Captain Stevens. I'm the Operations Bureau Commander, like Sergeant Blakey said. For our guest, I'll explain the PD is divided into two halves. Basically, there's the Service Bureau, which is commanded by Captain Perry, which the training unit is part of. And then the Operations Bureau has things like the Patrol Division in it, and that's where these two officers will transfer at the conclusion of this ceremony today. As you can see from that video, these officers have already been through a lot of hard training. I don't think that video truly portrays what they've been through. The sounds and the smells and the screaming's a lot more when you see it in person there, but they've been through a lot of hard training. But today kind of marks the end of what you might refer to as their clinical training in kind of a sterile environment. The next day, these officers report for duty this weekend. The calls are going to be real, the people are going to be real, the dangers are going to be real. They'll be entering the Stillwater PD field training and evaluation program at that point. In this program, they're going to be paired with two field training officers, FTOs, that have been chosen to train our next generation of officers. They'll be required to take everything they've learned thus far and put it to practical use under the watchful eye of their FTO. They're going to spend 4 to 5 weeks on each patrol shift with a different trainer on each shift, and then they return to their first phase trainer for 2 final weeks of evaluation before hopefully being released to the Patrol Division, as Sergeant Blakey said, as a solo patrol officer. During these 15 weeks, everything they do is rated by their trainer, who's sitting right here next to them for 15 weeks. How their uniform looks, how well they know the city, how they speak to someone, their officer safety, how they drive, everything they do is observed and scored by their FTO. It's an extremely stressful and fast-paced training. I've got every confidence these two guys are going to do well in it and they're going to succeed. So I'm going to go ahead and have our recruit officers post up here. Officer Howell, Officer Ellis, go ahead and post right up here on this side. FTOs, you go ahead and post over there on that side for me. In a moment, I'm going to have these two officers report to their first phase field training officer. When they do so, they'll be presented with an ink pen. On this pen's engraved their SPD Basic Academy class number along with a badge number, with their badge number. Probably asking, we give a cop a lot of things. Why an ink pen? Well, it's been said that police work can sometimes be described as long stretches of routine, interrupted by a few minutes of heart-pounding terror, followed by long stretches of paperwork. That's not what most people think of. When you think of police work, you think of that 60 seconds of heart-pounding terror edited down that you see on Cops or something like that, right? But in reality, the vast majority of our work during the routine and the following paperwork is all about communication. Communicating with our citizens, victims, suspects, co-workers, whoever. And we have to take those observations and communicate them, reduce them down into written words that's later going to be consumed by and communicated to the public, the media, the legal system. Effective communication at all levels of what they do is essential to these officers' success. I hope this pen will serve as a reminder to them of that fact. You guys ready to go? All right. Officer Ellis, report to Officer Gulick. Officer Howell, report to Master Patrol Officer Bainey. To these officers entering the FTO program, I want to say, you're never going to forget the FTO standing beside you. There is not an officer here today that can't tell you who their FTOs were. And as someone who's trained many officers, many recruit officers, I can tell you that their strongest desire is for you to succeed. So listen to them, listen to them, ask questions, stay safe. FTOs, you can go ahead and have a seat. So now I'm going to turn the ceremony back over to Chief Jordan and Captain Perry, presentation of their diplomas.
All right, gentlemen, if you'll post in front. This time we'll hand them out their certificates. The first certificate we have is for the Stillwater Police Academy graduation. And the second one is the Council on Law Enforcement Education and Training diploma. And so they'll each receive one of these. This concludes our ceremony. Thank you again for attending and recognizing these fine officers that we have. We're very proud of them, and we're very excited to have them coming to work for us and doing great things. At this time, everyone's invited to stay here and to shake their hands, congratulate them, and then we'll be taking some pictures. Thank you very much.